From BFM 89.9, the business station.
Hello, I'm Daryl Ong, and you are tuned in to the show that's all about the people and places of our capital city.
My little pony, my little pony.
Some of you might heard of the television series My Little Pony, but did you know there's an active international fan base for these colourful ponies? That's right, the first My Little Pony convention in Malaysia was held late March this year, and over 100 fans who call themselves Bronies attended the event in celebration of friendship and their common fandom. The event showcased a host of creative work made by fans, such as fan art and animation, as well as a concert with songs themed according to the My Little Pony show. Yes, you heard right, I mentioned bronies. Now, what are bronies, some of you might ask? Well, actually, My Little Pony's fan base is primarily made up of teenage and adult men instead of young girls, as most of us might expect. Today, we got the three main organizers of the My Little Pony convention, consisting of Daniel, Cheah and Meelz, who are members of the brony community themselves. They're here to tell us about the event and what this intriguing fan base is all about.
The convention that we held was called the Friendship Express, and this is the first of the Malaysian Brony conventions. It's actually something that's been happening around the world. It started in New York. There are conventions for My Little Pony fans to come forward and basically have a good time and socialize and enjoy. And so we wanted to have one in Malaysia for fans of My Little Pony.
I'd say that the convention was a good success. It was actually exceeded our expectations. It was a good mix between the adults, young adults and kids as well.
Overseas, some of these conventions can capture up to 4 figures worth of attendees. So this is a start for us. We're trying this from ground zero in Malaysia. And because just like anything that's launched in the West, especially television shows, it takes a while for them to reach our part of the world. So it actually was quite impressive still to get 150 people who are aware of this.
Because the fandom is mainly art-based and creative-based, the first thing that we had was a video game showcase called Fighting is Magic, where we actually had a fan-created video game about fighting ponies. So it's a bit of a weird mix because, little girls show ponies, but yet they're fighting. Why? Because the demographic of older adult males, they love to play video games and they play fighting games. We had an art panel where we got the local artists come together. We also had 2 teleconferences. One was from a voice actor from Canada, Vincent Tong, and we had the second one, a fandom musician from Israel, The Living Tombstone.
We also even had a showcase of animations, and on the first night we had a concert. We had brony musicians, we had non-brony musicians even come and perform, but we did it in the spirit of friendship. It was free, anyone could come and dance and rock out and sing with us as well.
This is probably my first brony gig in a while, I'll be completely honest, because I'm not primarily a brony musician. I'm a musician that just so happens to have 1 or 2 songs that have to do with ponies. It's really great to have this huge family of people kind of like get together and relate to the songs and relate to the message and all that, and even sing along to some parts, and it's fantastic.
The brony community started from an internet sensation over a critical essay by Amit Amidi titled The End of the Creator-Driven Era in TV Animation, which pretty much sparked much curiosity about this series, My Little Pony.
When the fandom first started, it started on an image board, and from there, that's actually where it sparked. Initially, there was controversy. A small bunch of people were watching the show, and there was some criticism regarding the end of a cartoon era, if I'm not mistaken. It was editorial online, which got people a little bit more curious to find out a little bit more about the show. It got people watch the show, and a few more people got interested, and a small bunch of fans conglomerated into one spot on the internet and started talking more about the show. In cyberspace, there are a lot of images posted up, and these images of colourful cartoon horses were all over the internet, and it got so saturated to the point where people actually got annoyed to the point that they were shut off, meaning that they were either banned from this site or they were just kicked out completely. And when that happens, these fans have got nowhere to share their contents, so they built their own. And websites such as Equestria Daily came up, where it's a pony blog site. It has got millions of views. Till this day, it's still bustling. It's still the hub of where many bronies actually come to look for content.
Bronies cite a number of reasons for the love of the television series. Besides an interesting storyline and creative animation, one of their main reasons is the in-depth personality of the characters that they relate to.
It was actually just an online show. You check around the internet and you see that there's a lot of people posting up images of My Little Pony characters. And for me personally, I did not know what characters were those at that time, but I decided to look it up and found that there was an episode online. Had a look at it on YouTube and found out that, it's pretty good animation. And the storyline pretty much relates to the older 1980s cartoons. It's got a little humor to it. After watching a couple of episodes, I decided that this is actually pretty good. That was 5 years ago.
We've come a long way from the beginning of the fandom, which was, as Cheah said, 5 years ago. But for me, what drew me to it was that, and what drew a lot of people to it was because the person who produced this fourth reboot of My Little Pony was Lauren Faust. And Lauren Faust has been known to work on other projects with her husband, Craig McCracken, stuff like Powerpuff Girls, stuff that we grew up to. So seeing this again, nostalgia kick, and it's great to see content like this come out again. So a lot of us, immediately fell in love with the show because of this familiarization we had with this kind of style of writing.
My favorite character is Fluttershy. She's the shy yellow pony from the show. So she has trouble exerting herself, but she has the support of many of her friends to overcome her weakness. And even though she's a shy character, she actually shines when she is put together with animals. She has like a special talent, cares for the animals and can communicate with them on a very personal basis. This kind of characterizations is like, it's not a one-dimensional kind of character. They're not stereotyped.
Like the polarized good guy must be good guy, bad guy must be bad guy. Like in this case, good guy also got some things wrong with him. That's what gives the story something to look at. For me, I like a character named Pinkie Pie. Pinkie is known to be the happy one, the joyful one. And a lot of people have related her to the saying that, the happiest people you see are the people who actually feel the most loneliness inside. And it's quite true because she grew up outside of town and in a family that seems like very conservative, very quiet. And she's also paranoid about losing friends. So this kind of quality that she has, I can relate to it very strongly also.
According to Cheah and Daniel, the reason for the thriving Brony fandom is a product of active engagement between the show's creators and the fans.
So the term you use, brony, is actually a portmanteau of the word bro and pony. And why we actually use this is that because online, the primary demographic which actually got onto the show are young adult males. So it's a little bit of cultural difference, I must say. I mean, people would think like, alright, it's a show for little girls, but yet a lot of guys are watching this. So why is this the case? So this brony community, we find it's special because there's actually an intimate relationship with the creators of the show. So what started online, if you look at Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, as little shout-outs towards the show's creators, and the show's creator respond in kind. This level of communication, I believe, is what actually built our community. It's really reflecting the tagline of the show, friendship is magic. So in a way, we feel like we are friends with the show's creator as well. Let's just take one example of John DeLacy. He mentioned that he didn't really think much about the show. He just recorded some lines for it, but he got massive amounts of positive emails from the fans saying that, oh, we love your voice as Discord. We really enjoy and we knew who you are. And he got confused because this was a show for little girls. But the emails he was getting, they are not from little girls. they are from bronies. But all of the messages he received were all positive, saying good things about him. And so he decided to look it up further, and he attended a few conventions, and now he actually enjoys the conventions together with the fans.
There have been charity projects done by the fandom as well. One of them is a charity called Bronies for Good. And they hold a lot of charity events like art streams where you can say, okay, I would like to pay $20 to this artist to draw something for me, and the $20 goes to his charity and things like that. So they had a charity auction a few times where you pay, I think, $2 US dollars to enter a raffle. And the voice actors from the show got together to contribute things. So they say if you get your name drawn, they'll record your phone voice message for you, or they will record a ringtone for your phone and things like that. So they contribute back not just to the fandom, but to the community at large.
The Bronies are an international community, and the trio themselves have been involved in My Little Pony activities abroad.
Malaysians have contributed to the brony scene worldwide as well. Like, we have a brony friend in Johor by the name of Norman. He produces a podcast on iTunes called The MBS Show. So that's one. There's another developer who lives in Sarawak, and he developed a plugin for Google Chrome called Pony Hoof, which actually transforms your Facebook into a My Little Pony inspired theme. So Malaysians, there may be a few of us, but we try to make our mark where we can. I have helped organize a convention in Singapore last year called Canterlot University, which was along the same lines. It was a brony convention for Singapore. And I also helped out with another one in Singapore as well called the Cloudsdale Splash, which was an art festival. Because the majority of fans around this region, they do a lot of art. They draw fantastic things, There's a friend in the Philippines. He's drawn art that has been auctioned in America.
I was part of an Australian convention called PonyCon AU. So I was a huge part in not only organizing it, but also organizing the music side of it as well. We had musicians, like a big little concert.
As most of us would expect, the brony community faces a fair share of ridicule from those who find it hard to accept that grown men would be fans of these colourful ponies. There are many as well who are accepting of this fan base, and the trio tells us of how they go about negotiating such social expectations.
I would say it actually depends on how you carry yourself. If you're a moderate fan of the show and you don't go preaching around the message of the show to random people around, you should be fine. But if you're like a fanatic kind of person, like if you go overboard and actually force your own viewpoints upon them, then you'll be in trouble. For all of us, it's just a hobby kind of thing. Talking about masculinity, of course, if you are questioned about it, then you have got to be prepared for your reasons to answer. Yes, it is a show intended for little girls, but older adult males like it because, and just what we've talked about, good animation, good storyline, a good community, creative artwork, good music. For my case personally, I would say that I really got questioned about it often because it's not something I would talk about freely unless somebody asks me, like, for example, if they look at my phone is themed with ponies, so they got a little bit confused and say, is this a cartoon show? Oh yeah, it's My Little Pony. And then if they ask more questions, then I would proceed to explain a little bit more and see their reactions to it. I have to gauge their reactions, whether are they trying to criticize or are they genuinely curious to know a little bit more about the show. If they are criticizing, so that's where we can't really talk too much because it's
the mind's
difficult.
not open.
Yeah, you have to have an open mind to receive this kind of, I would say, explanation. I get a mixed reactions. Some would be positive and say, "Oh yeah, that's fun. I recognize this show. It's from the old 1980s, right?" And some just say, "Oh, okay, fine. That's interesting," and that's it. And there is a few minority which say, this is a show for little girls. You're not supposed to watch." So, a really mixed bag of answers right there.
Well, it's true that some people say real men wear pink. It takes a lot of guts, a lot of bravery to admit that, you like this show. And that's something that I do. I really actually just go out. I wear shirts with ponies on it. It's nothing to be ashamed of for me, actually. Typically, it leads to, its fair share of teasing sometimes. People say, oh, you like that show. But then, along the journey of becoming a brony, I also learned, something that I picked up from friends. They say, those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. So I've also grown to actually build a lot of friendships through this show. I got to meet these two awesome people. And building this new group of friends, we put aside our differences very, very easily to be friends with one another. I would say it changed my life in a way, but at the same time, those who really matter to me and those who are really close to me, they've accepted it as part of who I am.
But to talk about the reactions from peers, I will say though, especially when I first got into the fandom, of course, when you first start to get into this thing, you start to get really excited and everything. I was like, yeah, I finally have a sense of belonging and stuff, and these are my bronies and all that. And of course, at that point when I was getting really excited about it, I was getting really strange looks and some looks of awe, some looks of disappointment here and there, especially considering the way society works and how colourful ponies have historically been viewed to the public. So thankfully, the public mindset has kind of really changed about that. I mean, personally, I've kind of really toned down. I've got a lot of other things on my plate, especially considering that I'm a musician in the fandom. A lot of people kind of look at, whoa, you're doing music a lot more than, oh, you're doing music for ponies. Especially my dad has kind of never really cared about the subject matter of my music. He just thinks that you're doing music and you're writing and producing, and he's just always been proud of that.
Media attention on the bronies has been very mixed. In America, there's been cases of news channels making fun of bronies. And some cases where some bronies don't even want to talk to the media for the fear that they will be polarized. So we'd like to thank you all for this opportunity to be able to speak to you all as well.
My Little Pony fandom has brought about new connections across the world and has given back to society through jointly organised charitable activities. They are confident that the Brony community will continue to grow from here.
There's plenty of negativity on the internet, you cannot deny it. But when you transcend that into what we do in real life, the things that actually take shape, things like Bronies for Good, that has actually gone all the way to Africa to build an orphanage and a school there even. I don't see anything wrong with it. In fact, it's only ever brought, happiness and good things to me. So that's why I'm proud to identify as one. Looking at communities like Star Trek and Doctor Who, they've been around for a very long time. But what sets this fandom apart is we may be based on a typical TV content and stuff, but we carry the message of the show as well, because that's the reason we watch it. We relate to it. It's the show that brought us together, a show that taught us about friendship, and that's kind of like mission accomplished. The show that taught us about friendship gave us even more friends, close friends to talk to.
And I'll say this about just about any fandom. I just really, really like the idea that two people that are of different racial background, cultures, two people that would have otherwise never ever met are now united through this one thing that we share in common. And I think it's a fantastic thing. And not only that, you have this sense of belonging. You kind of have a whole bunch of these people standing for the same thing that you do, and you're not being forced into it. You're here by choice, and you're here with people that are here on the same choice and the same principles. And what can I say? Friendship is magic.
That was Daniel, Cheah and Meelz, the organisers of the first My Little Pony, the Friendship Express convention right here in Malaysia. To find out more about them and their activities, just head over to www.thefriendshipexpress.org.